Okay, I'm gonna do this one more time. I'm going to get it right. Hi everyone, my name is Lee, and thank you for coming back to my channel because he loves me. It has been a long time since I last posted a video. About over 2 years ago, I posted a video about my miracle house testimony, and that video has been viewed over 11,000 times. I've received countless comments and emails, and I've tried to respond to many of you, but just know that I am praying for everyone that is believing God for their miracle house as well. And I'm praying that you all will have your own testimony to share about the goodness of the Lord and to give him glory for all that he will do for you. I thought I was done with these videos. Honestly, I thought I was done with blogging, but God has another plan for me. So moving forward, I'll be continuously sharing my testimonies and things as they come, and even talking about some things that have happened in the past about God and my journey with him, and just some of the great things that he has done for me, and even lessons learned as well in my journey. So today's video is another faith building story. I felt like this video was needed for this time that we're living in. I believe that people need hope, and that's what I'm here to give. I'm here to increase your faith and give you hope and believe in God for more and build your faith. So today I want to talk about the time that God told me to quit my job.
God told me to quit my job.
Okay, what? Anyway, it was a Sunday while I was at church. I had just got there. Praise and worship hadn't even started. I was just really being seated right before church started. And as I sat down and started to play on my phone, I heard the Holy Spirit tell me, quit your job tomorrow. So I remember looking around like, did anybody else hear that? Or was that really you, God? Like, what do you mean quit my job tomorrow? Like, I don't have another job. So I was working as a research nurse supervisor at the time. And I was also in grad school to become a nurse practitioner, okay? I had a team that I was accountable to, a small team. I had been a project manager in that role, and things were getting a little tough anyway with school. I was taking 2 classes, and honestly, leading up to that day, I was considering quitting school, but I was willing to give it up because I just couldn't understand how could somebody work full time and get through these classes. And I knew that clinicals were coming up, and if you know anything about being a nurse practitioner or anything in the medical field with school, when it comes to clinicals, you can't really work full time. I mean, you could try, and I'm sure a lot of people have, but it's not ideal for you to work full time and have all these other obligations as well as school. So, when he told me this, I immediately was just like, no, I really think I'm just going to quit school, right? So, like I said, that was a Sunday, and the next day was Monday. So for the rest of that day and leading up to even that morning, I was like, well, maybe I'm gonna get fired, okay? Because I knew that Mondays were the days that I worked, at work, where I talked to my supervisor and gave her project updates and kind of talked about, some goals that we were having in the project. So I was just like, I know in my mind, this is what I was saying to myself. I know that school has been tough, and I know I haven't even been really present at work. I mean, I'm there, but I'm not there. I'm thinking about school. Surely I'm going to get fired. And that's probably what God was, telling me. I'm going to go into this meeting on Monday, and it's not going to be good for me, right? So I went into the meeting, and we talked about the project. We talked about the next week goals, and that was it. Nothing happened. Nothing. She didn't talk to me about my performance. She didn't say anything to me about firing me. Nothing happened. And I remember I went back to my desk like, God, what is happening? I mean, yesterday you told me to quit my job. I really thought I might have been getting fired or something. Really, I was waiting for God to give me the easy way out. That's really what that was about. But, you know, I just remember feeling like, wait, how am I going to quit my job and I don't even have another job lined up? I don't have any other income. Why would I be crazy enough to quit my job and not have anything lined up? And for several weeks after that, I disobeyed God. Yes, I disobeyed God because I didn't do what he told me to do. Fear caused me to not do what he said. Fear caused me to think about the money and not having another job, that I was too afraid to take a leap of faith. Like I literally was like, no, I'm not doing this. And then I didn't even want to tell anybody what God told me because no one, you know, I might have told one or two people that I could trust with that type of information. But for the most part, I wasn't telling anybody because I wasn't even sure yet. You know, I was more worried about money, and I was overwhelmed at the idea of leaving one job, which was my highest paying job at the time, to that date. I was more concerned with leaving that job to have nothing. Now, y'all, I had just bought a house less than a year prior to that. So what do I look like saying, oh, God told me to quit my job and I have a whole mortgage to pay, and that was just really it? No. So I did nothing. And as the days went by, I was like, well, let me listen for a confirmation from God. And I heard nothing. I even started to look for other jobs. I started to apply other places and I got no callbacks. I don't even think I got offered an interview. It was really dry. Okay. It was really dry. A few weeks went by after that, and I just remember just being at an absolute standstill with God. School got harder, work got harder. I started to feel like if I didn't have this full-time job, then I would be doing better at school. And then I started to feel like if I didn't have schoolwork to do, then I would be really successful at work. So it just became more challenging as I went through the weeks. So fast forward to almost 4 weeks after he told me to quit my job, my church had a conference. And at the conference, there was a man ministering his word. And towards the end, he started to speak prophetically to several people. And so I just remember, you know, jumping up and down and just being so excited. And then he said, you come here. And he pointed to me. And so I ran up there like, woo, about to get a prophetic word. And he boldly shouted, fear. God has not given you the spirit of fear, but he's given you power, love, and a sound mind. And I was like, okay. And then, you know, that was it. It was so quick that no one needed to pull out their camera or their recorder to record that word for me. It was so quick, and that was it. But I knew that was exactly what God was saying to me. That was the word of the Lord for the exact season that I was in. That was God rebuking me for being disobedient to him, okay? I had allowed fear of the future, fear of the unknown, fear of what would happen after making that type of decision. I had to allow that fear to cause me to be disobedient to God. And after I received that word, I knew this was a test of my faith, and I knew exactly what I had to do. So, at my job, I had to give a 4 weeks notice because I was in a role that was considered professional. As a supervisor, I had to give 4 weeks notice. And I remember looking at the calendar for that upcoming Monday, and I realized that upcoming Monday should have been my last day of work had I originally given my 4 weeks notice at the time when God said. So I just rejoiced at the grace and the mercy of the Lord that I'm in my head. I was like, I'm still in this grace period. It's really a grace period because here I am about to give my 4 weeks notice on the day I should have been leaving, my last day of work. So I remember that night I I was typing up my resignation letter. I was so afraid typing up that letter of resignation. I couldn't believe it. I had wrote it that Sunday night. And I remember even when I walked into work that Monday, it wasn't finished because I was just like, I can't believe that this is about to happen. And so remember, I had Monday meetings. And so I walked into my meeting and, we went through the whole project goals and project things. And I remember I had to tell my supervisor that I had to quit my job. I wasn't able to handle the full-time schedule and that it was time for me to leave my supervisor position. And it wasn't at an ideal time of even the project. I mean, we were in the middle of a project. So, losing a project coordinator in the middle of a project, I know that was very inconvenient for this situation. But at the same time, I knew what I had to do. I knew I had to obey what God was saying. So the funny thing is that at that moment, she asked me if I would consider part-time, like if I would take some time off for, some vacation time to help catch me up in my studies, and would I consider working part-time as a supervisor. So y'all know I was like, this is a good idea. Maybe I could do this, I could do that, and then I had to say no. I had to say no to that too. I had to say no because I knew it wasn't what the Lord had told me to do. The Lord told me to quit the job. He didn't say keep the job part-time. He said quit the job. So I knew that I couldn't even allow myself to be tempted by this guaranteed part-time income. I knew I still would be in disobedience. And I mean, I already had disobeyed him the first time, so I was trying not to do this again. So, I said no. And that day, I went back to my desk, finished out the letter of resignation, and emailed it to my supervisor with a date for May. I think it was like May 18th or something. And I had a sigh of relief because I was like, wow, I really did what the Lord told me to do. But at the same time, I was just like, I could not believe that I just quit my job. I got a whole house with a whole mortgage and whole grown-up adult bills. What was I thinking? And so that was that. I went home that day, and then I woke up the next day, obviously went back to work, and I was just like, what did I just do? I didn't have a job lined up. But don't you know, 48 hours went by, and I received a notification by the nursing agency at the hospital that I worked at, letting me know of a unit that I had once worked at. They were offering, they had a high needs contract, and they were offering a contract because they were in need of nurses to work on their unit, and the high needs rate was, get this, about
$23 more an hour than what I was making in my current role as a supervisor.
I was like, okay. And then I started, sending them an email to find out a little bit more information about this contract. And sure enough, the contract was legit. I had more flexibility. I could take whatever days that I needed off. I knew that the rate was guaranteed and it would work with my schedule with school and clinicals. And so I was just like, wow, I can't believe that I was offered a position that gave me more money than I've ever made in my career as a nurse, okay? It was crazy because it was like God will make you get to the end of your intellect to let your faith take over. And that's exactly what happened. I had to get to the end of my intellect and to let my faith take over for him to lead me to what was on the other side of my decision of obedience. My faith to finally quit my job without having another job led me to an offer that was ridiculously better financially and more convenient for my schedule for school and my future. I went from making, registered nurse pay at my current job to making nurse practitioner pay before I even graduated school to become a nurse practitioner. Like, I couldn't believe it. And so Like I said before, God brought me to the end of my intellect to let my faith take over, to lead me into this position. And it all came down to obedience, y'all. What if I didn't obey? And I didn't originally, right? But what if I didn't obey when I did? What if I completely missed the opportunity, that window of opportunity? That contract wouldn't have been available. That rate wouldn't even have been available, okay? There might have been other opportunities for me to get other jobs, but that high needs rate would not have been available had I waited too much longer. And so that leap of faith finally, me finally obeying God led me to a place of abundance. It led me to a job that paid me more than I ever had made in my career. I had more than enough. I eventually started to work even less. So I was getting paid more an hour to work 1 to 3 days a week. That carried me through all of clinicals. And not only did that carry through my clinicals, that carried me through the point where I am now. So one of my prayers to the Lord was, Lord, let this job sustain me until I finish school. At the time that I accepted this contract, I had a whole 1.5 years left in my program. Y'all, this job and that high needs rate lasted until January of this year. He positioned me to make a decision to quit that job when I was ready, okay? It brought me through the rest of my nurse practitioner program. It brought me through studying for my board certifications. I am now a board certified family nurse practitioner. My last shift at that job was in January of this year, 4 days before I started my nurse practitioner job. Like, the blessings of the Lord maketh rich and add no sorrow. Yes. But God also did exceeding and abundantly above everything that I could ever ask or think. He blessed me with a house, and he promised to add no sorrow. So even this, being fearful of not having enough money, was the sorrow that I thought I would have. But because my house even was a blessing, and he promised to not give me sorrow, he never even left me, even in the midst of this time of him asking me to quit my job. And it was because of my faith and my obedience in him, my trust in him, that it led me to January of this year, finally leaving this job and finally being positioned to move into my new career where I work at now as a family nurse practitioner. So, you know, like I said, he exceeded my expectations. He exceeded my thoughts. What God told me to do seemed so scary at the time. It was so scary. And, you know, this video was really just to boost your faith and to really have you reflect on some things. Like, what has God told you to do that seems so scary and you don't even want to do because you're so afraid of what the next is? You're afraid of the future. What has God told you to do? What aren't you willing to do that God told you to do? What aren't you willing to even take a leap of faith in? What is it? Now's your chance to obey him. Don't miss an opportunity. Don't miss God's opportunity to bless you and to exceed what you could even imagine. Don't miss it. And I know for sure that if I did not do what I said, what I was supposed to do, probably even a week later, a couple days later, I would have missed out on that opportunity. And I don't even know what would have happened, right? Because remind you, I had already quit my job before getting another job. So, you know, who would say that I would even have had a job at that pay rate to carry me through up until this year when I started my nurse practitioner job. So, I mean, everything that we do is affected by our obedience or our disobedience to God. It's like we are living in the consequences, or let me say, we are living out our decisions that we've made before. We've living in our decisions that we've made in previous seasons. Were you obedient to God or were you disobedient to God? That's what you're living in right now, okay? Will you have enough faith to allow God to blow your mind? Will you have enough faith to obey him when you don't understand? Will you have enough faith and to believe that he will never leave you nor forsake you, that he won't drop the ball, that he's not leading you into into destruction? Will you have enough faith in God to believe that he wants to do more for you than you could ever imagine? So I hope this video was a blessing to you and has increased your faith and has increased you wanting to be more obedient to God when he speaks to you. My whole journey with him has really been about faith and obedience. And I've actually been working on a devotional about obedience. And if you're interested, go to my blog at becausehelovesme.com and sign up to be notified when I launch the devotional. So thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And please share this video with whomever you think will be blessed from my testimony. That's why I do it. I do it to give glory to God, and I'm doing this now to increase the faith of those who need it the most during this time, right? So until next time,